Hi, we are so glad that we're able to show one of our schools. And so we have one school that's year round, and so we've already had teaching and learning. We're on day 2. So come on with me up here, and we're gonna go into one of our rooms and see. Since she's already here outside, Daryl Tom, and she will show us a couple things in her classroom.
Hi, welcome, come on in. Okay, as you enter the room, you will see, this is a K1 combo, so you'll see that everything's pretty low. It's very kid-centered. This is our depth and complexity icons. This turns into a science wall. Excuse me, this is our emergency bin, so sorry that's in the way. But this is very kid-friendly, so they add and delete post-it notes, their ideas, their thoughts all go on this board. So we think like a scientist all year long in our room. This board changes with every new lesson that we do. So right now we haven't even started because we're still getting into the trends and how we get in. As you walk through the room, you see we have our big space. The kids project. We have iPads in the cart. They project today. They did some learning. They did some exploration on the iPads, and then they showed each other. They will airplay their ideas and their explorations, and they share with their teammates or their colleagues what they found. So that's why the whiteboard space is white. This is our math wall. We do a little bit of language and math here, but most of it turns into this board. We've got our all of our different things that go along with the kindergarten and first grade that go on this wall. As we go around the room, you'll see we have our reading table set up. We had all of our school supplies arrive today, so we're still putting those away. We have a book nook reading area. The children are doing 2 different kinds of reading. They do guided reading with me at the table. We have our book nook reader in here, where 4 students at a time can fit in here. When we do open reading, they can sit anywhere in the room they want. They do self-selected reading from those tubs. The tubs change throughout the day. This is our Daily 5 cafe wall, so this is where I do the bulk of language arts instruction. And then the students add to it as we go through. So our library for the students to pick, I tell them their fluency level so that they can get better. We discuss it. It's very open. I tell them where they are. I tell the parents where they are. I tell them where we want to be by January. I tell them where we want to be by June. They always succeed where they want to be because they just love knowing where they are and where they want to be. So that's what that wall is. The rest of the wall is where they post their work, and they know how to use the little paper clips and the pins, clothespins. They've never seen clothespins before, so it's kind of cool. So they post their own work up. The kinders, the first grade work is up right now. We did an Emily Dickinson poem, the poem where the fly writes a letter to the bee welcoming him, spring's already come, where are you? And the frogs and birds are here. And so they do their interpretation. If Emily Dickinson was going to illustrate it, that's what the illustration would look like. They're going to add to that, so it's an ongoing piece of work. And I told them Emily Dickinson, somebody they'll read all the way through college.
Dr. Tom, how are those pictures up of those students if it's only the second day of school?
Those were up yesterday. We have a fantastic PTA, good question. Yeah. Our PTA comes, we have an incredible group of mom and dads. They come, they bring our classroom out. We take individual pictures, we also take class pictures. And so I posted their pictures last night. We had back to school night last night, and the parents were blown away that the kids already had their pictures up.
Day one.
At day 1.
Wow.
So
I'm just going to add too. I didn't. Thank you, Mrs. Tom. That I'm sharing. I'm the superintendent, and I'm just excited because much of this are our signature practices in all of our classrooms. But more importantly, I love that. I don't know if you got that up there. That we really are about getting kids to dream and dream big and keep dreaming. And then you also heard already from our assistant soup, and that's Dr. Arnold right there. And so I think we'll keep walking, but you'll know who's in the room. And our principal.
Thank you.
Who's Mr. Briggerman right there.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Photographer Tricia Colella.
Who loves to be on camera. We're going to go next door now to a kindergarten classroom.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks. Have fun.
This is one of our kindergarten classrooms. The teacher's Kelly Otani, and one of the things I do want to point out in here is the amount of wall space that is used for purposeful teaching. So you'll notice here that we have a math wall, which math instruction happens at every day. Language wall, where a lot of language arts and English instruction happens. So we really try here to use all of our wall space for purposeful teaching. Over on this side of the room, you can see there's a space reserved for cognitively guided instruction, our signature math program in the district. And there will be work posted there later, and students will actually work from that wall. So all of our classrooms here at the district, or I'm sorry, here at the school, have a specific purpose. We really try to use the wall space for learning. So we're going to move on out of this classroom now and head on over to our second grade classrooms and talk about some more practices here at the site.
So, Dr. Arnold, maybe you want to talk a little bit about culture in our district and how important we think that is.
Sure, I think one of the really interesting things and cool things about getting the opportunity to look at other school buildings and facilities across campus that exist in different geographical contexts and are the fact that as new or as old or whatever the practices are that are displayed on the walls, one thing that's really hard to communicate is the culture that exists within those classrooms. And it's really interesting to see how schools, teachers, and different buildings and facilities add and create to our culture. And at least here at Weaver and throughout the district, it's really about student achievement, it's about self-efficacy, it's about results, and it's also about having fun, really so that students are able to think about anything that they want to be and accomplish those goals. And hopefully what you see on these buildings and on these wall spaces add to that and help to explain how we achieve that.
This is the quad area where we have like ceremonies.
Ceremony every Friday.
You can see the school's alive with children, but we're trying to avoid them for student privacy reasons.
So we're going into one of our second grade classrooms.
Yay! Debbie Calder
This is Debbie Calder, and Debbie is one of our second grade teachers, and she's going to talk about one of her projects that she did yesterday and today on the first and second day of school.
You're so awesome. I know you love this. You going to share? The talk?
Yeah.
Okay. Pick a project.
Yeah, we were
Language
right
wall, what
over
you
here
do.
on the desks.
So today
We did a quick rate just to get a first beginning of the year assessment, and there wasn't much teaching that went along with that because we want to see what they can do without instruction before we get started on all of our writing mini lessons. And then I left out a CGI problem that we just did today. And
Can you talk about that, what that means, or how CGI problems are constructed, or what you do? How did that come to be from, onto that student's page from where it kind of started earlier in the day?
okay, so this was our first CGI problem of the year, and the students were able to select from 3 number sets. We talked about picking the number set that worked for them. They today worked on solving it on paper without manipulatives. Tomorrow we'll be working on solving with manipulatives.
Wow.
And they all use different strategies, and we didn't have time for them to share, but tomorrow they will start off by sharing their strategies and teaching the whole class.
Yes, CGI is cognitively guided instruction. A few people are asking what that stands for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So can you just show maybe, Tricia, also the different strategies? You can actually see students employing different strategies, and that's okay, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the
we have
notion
kids
behind CGI is that kids learn constructively and conceptually. So you teach the word problem first and have them deconstruct the word problem and conceptualize, and then teach the procedures and algorithms for strategies later to make them be more efficient. And so you actually let them struggle with the math so that it really strengthens their understanding of math and problem solving.
And this is day 2?
This is day 2.
First CGI problem, day 2. So you see kids using base 10. You see kids breaking down numbers, decomposing numbers, using expanded notation, a variety of strategies.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Calder. Great job. So we're going to come through here into another second grade classroom. And we have teacher Jackie Enix in this classroom. And Jackie's going to talk about a project using some of the depth and complexity icons that are another signature practice in our district.
Yes. So we read our first story together called Driving Gets By. And one of the skills that we have to teach in second grade is summarizing. So we broke up it into 3 categories, beginning, middle, and end. And the children use a flow map to illustrate their understanding of what happened in the beginning, the middle, and end. And then to further their thinking and understanding of the story, we use iconic language to deepen their thought process. So they found there were patterns in the stories and details that were important. There were words in the story that they needed to understand in order to really, fully comprehend the story. They came up with their own unanswered questions in the story. So even their point of view, and then there was an LOL because they thought this part of the story was the funniest part of the story, so laugh out loud. So they had that part. That's all we did. And then we put all the icons all throughout our learning here, even in the math wall and our rules for the year and everything else.
Where are your icons?
Up here.
Oh, they're there. That's nice.
They're up there.
Very
And
good.
everyone else.
Great.
Yes. And I first learned them through Tricia.
Good friend, thank you.
Yes, she taught me everything I knew.
This time, Jackie.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Okay, I'm serious. Are you willing or no?
No, we're
Oh, it won't come up? Okay. All right. And this is Ruth Friedman Finch's classroom and a friend back there. And we were going to bring up a Kahoot that we did yesterday, but we're having a little bit of technology problems. So I don't know if we're going to be able to bring that up and show you or not.
No, I don't know. Let me see. I'm trying to get the Apple TV up. We could try to come back. Okay, after. Okay,
Yeah,
and
we
do
can-
that?
we can come back.
Okay, okay, come back.
Perfect. So we're going to go out this way and go over to 5th grade.
Looks fabulous.
I know it.
One of the things we were able to accomplish here this year, our goals were to go to one-to-one iPads. So our friends of the Weaver group, which is our parent focused group, purchased iPads for every single student on campus. And so we have a full one-to-one school iPad program now. And the other thing we're working toward is really bringing in STEAM. We have a STEAM committee on campus that's developing a STEAM plan that will be our plan for the next 5 to 7 years. And we're working with Friends of Weaver in order to provide all of the materials and supplies that we need. We're going to have a maker space that's coming in and a STEAM plan, which will hopefully lead to one grade level project per year with a purpose using STEAM practices and strategies.
And I think we might find the next famous coders, programmers.
So we had a project here today. This was a s'more made out of solar power. So we tried to make s'mores using solar power.
It's gone.
And it's gone. So I don't know exactly what happened to it, but that's what we were working on today.
I was hoping it would still be here.
And this is one of our 5th grade classrooms. This is one of our 5th grade teachers, Dr. Joseph Arias. And he's going to talk to you about how he utilizes the space in the classroom in order to maximize learning.
Yes, we have really seen the benefits for engineering design to have a classroom that is more spacious and more flexible in terms of use of space. So the fact that kids do need to move more readily and easily, I felt that these ergonomic chairs would help them in terms of their ability to stay the stamina quotient to be nice and strong. And I think the choice is also another thing. Students move each month, but they're moving all the time, and that's what the space really helps to do. So they have a more traditional seating area. We've got the round tables. As I'm finding more kinesthetic learners are coming through, we've got small group areas in the room. We can use this open area by moving what we call the Japanese tables, moving them out of the way, developing a space for scenarios and more kinesthetic work. The walls, I call them living walls. I used to enjoy all my neat little squares up on walls, but now that kids are taking over the walls, I see that being a huge tool for learning and the use of them sharing their thoughts and having every single person heard is really important. We've got our mobile iPad Airs. They're new for our kids, which is really great because it supports the latest robotics technology. So we're able to use that for our robots. This year we're having an Adopt a Robot campaign in our class, and the parents are going to adopt a robot and bring it into the classroom, and we're going to be programming and coding, and we're really excited with that. This group today, we just did ovens, and we're talking about energy as being the base of everything we do. They came up with an inquiry question. I came up with the inquiry question, but they came up with the learning and how we all started. Why is energy important? Utilizing the kids' energy is the key, because many of them know that energy is a raw something that we can't see all the time, but we know it's there. And many of them know that there's electrical energy. There are types of energy, but what came up with using everyone's input, as I read them aloud, I will allow them to read them aloud too, but it's a new group, so I read them. And as I read each one of them, that gives import to each person, but also it pulls out so much rich information to go to the next point.
And do you want to elaborate a little bit on our inquiry-based program that we've really kind of been pushing here, especially in 5th grade and trying to work into other grade levels?
Everything we do is inquiry-based, and what it is really just developing a question on the why and the how. The why and the how is the key. So why are we doing this? Once we understand what our purpose is, the learning is purposeful, and it just moves out from there. So we may say, like, why do we explore? Okay, that we're exploring as scientists, but we're exploring as social scientists, especially studying the United States and the early explorers in the United States. There are ways that it just crosses, spirals, and supports the learning. The key is with this environment is that students are learning how to learn and apply it to other things that they're doing versus just learning information. You should see the amount of information that they're able to take in when they know why they're learning and they're doing something that's organic from them.
I also like, it's really interesting, and I, of course, have seen this before, but how the depth and complexity icons and the CGI and some of the major tenets are in every room from kindergarten to 5th grade.
Yes.
So it shows the progression of major ideas are really kept alive throughout the grade levels.
Yeah. And I tell them, I said, don't ever let anybody underestimate the power of kids. I said, your ideas are so important to us, and you get so many cool things. I mean, I learn things from them all the time. So I agree, and it starts in kindergarten, and you can see that they've kept it from kindergarten.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for letting us in your room. Someone
Thank
had
you.
a question for you. What are the balloons for?
The balloons. 3 things that nobody knows anything about you. And it's just a cool, after their brains have been so involved. Today, I brought 2 of them up. They had to stand rear to rear and pop the balloon, no hands. And they popped, it got them going. We read them. How many people have had a bloody nose at that or whatever it is? They stand up, what they share, and they all share that thing, you know. And there are 3 things in here. Then eventually, usually, by the 3rd one, the one person is standing there who had that experience. So we know who it is.
How fun.
But it's really cool. It's the first time I've done it with this age group, and it was terrific. So I recommend it.
Thank you so much for giving us
thank
such a
you.
great tour and
Thank
for
you.
explaining the why, the
Yeah.
message people are saying. They really
Alrighty.
appreciate the why.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, do we have time to try to head back over to Mrs. Friedman Finch's classroom?
We can try it.
Let's give it a whirl.
Do we still have time to go see if Rick has...
Yeah, exactly.
We'll try.
Well, I can say, our facilities, we're really, look at our new playground as we're walking. But we are in California and there's a drought, so don't notice the little bit of grass not perfectly green. We're
We're
helping.
doing our part.
We're doing our part in saving the water. Oh, that's neat. They can see some out there.
Let me see if I can get back far enough to where we don't see faces. This is our after-school program called Kids Corner. It's actually where I started. My first years were in Kids Corner, and then I became a teacher. And that's a common path for people in Los Angeles.
It doesn't matter because
You do.
you're Elmo.
The Queen of Perseverance.
I will persevere. I will find it. If there's a way, I will do it. And so, what do you want to know? What we did?
That's what you did.
All right. Well, Kahoot, which is web-based, is something that the third grade team decided that we would try and do on the first day of school for our students to get to know us. And we created a QR code so that all the students had to do was go up and scan it. If we get it to the right way. That would take them online to the game. And then they have to enter the game pin, which was listed up there. When they enter, they create a nickname. Which will then show up on my screen so that I now know that Hello has entered the correct keypad and is ready to play the game. And once I have everybody logged in, ready to go, we launch it. And so there are 10 questions that they had to get to know me. And the first one was, what is the theme of my classroom? And then they are given 4 choices, and there's a timer.
No theme, polka dots, beach, or Disney.
And I have a beach theme. So they should select beach. But of course that's, where'd my little iPad go? And here's the iPad, so they would, oops, time ran out for me because I was over there at my computer. But now hopefully I can do it on my next question and get it right. But it would tell me who's in the lead, how many points they got, and then I go to the next question. And it's, what is my favorite color? And this confused them because if they know me, they know that my favorite color to wear is black. But it was, what is my favorite color to look at? And that would be blue. And so then,
Very fun. And they loved it, I'm sure.
they loved it. And then today I introduced them to Quizdom. And there was a toss-up. Half preferred Quizdom because of the race cars, and half preferred this because of the music and the...
Thank you so much for sharing, Ruth.
Okay.
Thank you for coming and taking a look at our school today. It was great to have a chance to walk through with you. We're so fortunate because we have kids already, so we have things going on here, and we really appreciate you coming in and walking through with us today.
Since he graduated, he was okay. It was the younger one who's coming in going,
Bye.
Thank you so much.
You.
oh, you could have showed them that.